All right, so we're diving deep into the music of Wyatt Pauley today.
Yeah, it looks like we've got quite a bit here. Articles, bios.
You really went all out, huh?
Seems like our listener wants to go way beyond just the basics this time.
Exactly. We're going to trace his whole journey from the early days all the way to his current sound.
I bet we find some surprises along the way.
Oh, I'm sure we will. His career is like a reflection of how music's changed over the years, you know?
Kind of like a history lesson in one person.
Yeah, he starts in the 90s, pop scene, then explores all these different kinds of rock, and now he's landed in this really authentic Americana sound.
And it all starts in South Florida.
Oh, yeah. Early 90s South Florida Sun Energy. That's where it all began.
That's where he got his start with the pop group Linear.
And just so everyone knows, it's pronounced Lin-E-R, not like the math term.
I actually didn't know that for a while myself.
Well, you learn something new every day, right?
That's what I love about these deep dives. Always something new to discover.
Speaking of discoveries, their single, Sending All My Love, it was a huge hit.
Oh, yeah. Billboard Top 5 went gold in the U.S. and even platinum internationally.
Makes you wonder, what was it about that song that captured the moment?
Right place, right time.
Definitely. But also the talent was there, too.
Oh, absolutely. Pauley didn't just disappear after that one hit.
He kept going.
He joined King Bria. Total different vibe, toured with huge names like Hootie and the Blowfish.
Now that's got to be an experience.
Talk about some serious motivation to keep pushing forward.
Sharing a stage with a Hootie, that's got to give you some serious confidence, right?
For sure, and then after that, he forms SoCo Signs with Atlantic again.
The guy clearly knows how to make things happen.
Real business savvy for sure. But you know what I find really interesting?
It's that.
His album, Songs My Daughter Gave Me, from 2012, it feels like a turning point.
How so?
It's like he goes from these big label sounds to something way more personal, intimate.
Like he's saying, okay, I've played the game, now I'm doing things my way.
Exactly. And that leads us right to the Pauley Lane Band, formed about 10 years ago.
Americana, with a little bit of alt-rock edge and some definite country storytelling.
They really embrace that storytelling aspect.
Oh, for sure, it's not just generic lyrics. They draw from real-life experiences.
Makes their music feel so relatable.
You mentioned they have a pretty extensive catalog.
They do. Where do we even begin?
Well, their 2022 album, The Lizard Lounge, has a pretty fun origin story.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
So picture this, the band's on tour, long drives, they're in that affected mode.
Affected mode. I haven't come across that term in the research.
Oh, it's not an official term, more like a band inside joke.
Okay, I was wondering.
Basically it means they're looking for a cool place to unwind. You know, listen to good music, good food, good conversation.
Gotcha, makes sense.
So they stumble upon this bar, literally called the Lizard Lounge. And bam, inspiration strikes.
Love it. That's such a down-to-earth story.
And that album touches on some pretty current themes, too.
Like what?
Social misconduct and online world digital girl, for example.
Interesting.
They're not afraid to tackle the ups and downs of the digital age.
It's refreshing. You don't hear a lot of music about that.
True. So much of it is about love and loss, which is timeless, of course.
Of course. But Pauley Lane Band, they're tapping into something really relevant to how we live now.
And even when they're dealing with kind of darker themes, there's this undercurrent of hope.
I noticed that too.
Like the song First Time, it's all about finding the positive.
Yeah,
you know,
turning things around.
And get this, the song started as a mini disc demo years ago, just recently rediscovered.
Wow, what a blast from the past.
I know, right? Talk about a hidden gem.
Makes you wonder what other treasures are hidden away in those old recordings.
Now I want to dig through all my old stuff, see what I can find.
Me too. But First Time isn't the only song with a unique story.
Oh yeah, tell me more.
Diamond in My Pocket, for example, it's got this great energy, but it also showcases their jazz influences.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
You can hear it in the chord progressions, the playful use of rhythm.
Like they took a classic jazz vibe and mixed it with their rock sound.
Yeah. Exactly. And speaking of energy, we can't forget Lonely Won't Leave Me Alone.
That one's impossible not to move to.
It's a remix of their song Lonely, but they add these driving drums bass lines.
Takes the song to a whole other level.
Remixing is a really cool way to breathe new life into a song, you know?
Definitely like offering a new perspective on the same story.
We've been talking so much about the music. Who are the actual players behind the sound?
Oh, let's introduce the band members themselves.
Yeah, fill me in.
So first you've got Wyatt Pauley, the heart and soul of the band, lead vocals, guitar producer, songwriter. He does it all.
Wow, a true multi-talent.
And get this, he's also a radio host in the UK.
No way, seriously?
Yep, pretty impressive, right?
That's amazing. So he's connecting with audiences in a whole different way.
Exactly. Then we have Steve Styles, multi-instrumentalist. He's been with Wyatt since the very beginning.
Wow, that's dedication.
Remember Linear Steve toured with them back in 1990?
Talk about history.
And rounding out the trio, we have Jun Fujino on guitar, drums, and bass.
Wait, he plays all three?
He does, and he's all the way from Tokyo.
That's so cool. What a mix of backgrounds.
Jun's a huge Beatles fan, which I think adds this really cool international element to their sound.
So we have this blend of experience with Pauley and Styles, and then Fujino brings this global perspective.
Exactly. It's a pretty remarkable combination.
I'm curious, how did they all meet? Was it a chance encounter?
Well, Jun actually collaborated with Pauley on From Tokyo to Florida EP before officially joining the band.
Oh, wow. So that project must have solidified their musical bond.
I think so, but you know what? We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
Maybe it's time to take a breath and let all this sink in for a moment.
Yeah, good idea.
What's jumping out at you so far? Anything in particular?
Honestly, it's hard to choose. From 90s pop to Americana rock, there's just so much to unpack.
It is a lot to take in.
What really fascinates me is how Wyatt's like a musical chameleon.
You mean how he adapts and evolves over the years?
Exactly. It makes you wonder, is there a common thread that ties all these projects together?
You mean some underlying essence that defines his sound, even with all the genre changes?
Yeah. Is there something that stays consistent throughout his career?
That's a fantastic question, and one we'll definitely explore further as we continue our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned, because we're just getting started.
You know, maybe that common thread is his ability to connect with people.
Yeah, no matter what genre he's in, he always seems to be speaking right to the listener.
And you can really hear that with Pauley Lane Band.
Oh yeah, for sure. They've got this whole string of albums, The Long Road Back, Out of Necessity, Dog Days.
Each one seems to build on that idea of real, authentic storytelling.
And they really invite you into their world.
Exactly. It's like they're sharing their experiences, and somehow that makes you think about your own life in a new way.
Makes you feel less alone, you know?
And then there's a song from London released in 2024. I love that it includes those live radio edits.
Oh, yeah. It gives you a sense of what it's like to see them perform live.
I bet they have amazing energy on stage.
Oh, absolutely. They really feed off each other.
Speaking of feeding off each other, their most recent release, the Southern Comfort EP from December 2024, it really showcases how well they work as a band.
It does. There's such a range of styles on there, too.
Yeah, you've got those introspective, almost melancholic songs, and then suddenly they hit you with a total rocker.
Like they're saying, hey, we can do it all.
And it all feels so cohesive, like each song belongs there, you know?
It's all part of the bigger picture.
Which brings us back to the band members themselves.
Wyatt's the songwriter and performer Steve, who's been there since Linear in June, bringing in his international flair.
Their individual journeys add so much to the band's sound.
For sure. We talked about Steve touring with Linear in June, working with Wyatt on the From Tokyo to Florida EP.
It's like all these different paths came together.
It really is amazing how it all came together.
You know, we were talking about Wyatt's radio work earlier.
We were.
I'm curious what draws him to that side of the music world.
That's a great question. I think it speaks to his genuine love of music, you know?
Yeah, in all its forms.
Exactly. And radio allows him to share that passion, to introduce new artists, to connect with people in a different way.
It's like he's curating a soundtrack for their lives.
And that curator role must influence his own music in some way.
Definitely being exposed to so many different sounds and stories, it's got to spark his creativity.
Speaking of influences, we talked about Jun being a huge Beatles fan, but what about Wyatt's own musical heroes?
Yeah, who do you think shaped his sound?
That's a tough one. We know he started in pop, so maybe George Michael or Prince were early influences.
Makes sense.
But then you hear those bluesy vibes in his later work.
True.
So maybe someone like Eric Clapton or John Mayer played a part.
It's fun to think about all the different musical threads that come together in an artist's work.
It is like a musical tapestry.
And it's something listeners can explore too.
How so?
While you're listening to Wyatt's music, try to pick out those moments where you hear echoes of other artists or genres.
Oh, I like that, like a musical treasure hunt.
Exactly, and sometimes those unexpected connections are the most rewarding.
They are, but, you know, beyond influences, beyond genre labels, there's something about Wyatt's music that just feels real.
Authenticity, that's the word that keeps coming to mind.
It does. His lyrics come from real life. His performances are raw and emotional.
He's just being himself.
And that's so powerful.
It's that vulnerability, that willingness to share his heart that makes his music resonate.
You feel like you're getting a glimpse into his soul.
And it makes you reflect on your own life, your own experiences.
Music has that ability to create a connection between the artist and the listener.
And with Wyatt, that connection feels particularly strong.
It does. It's like he's inviting you to come along with him on this journey of self-discovery.
And you can't help but be moved by it.
And it's a journey that's still unfolding. We've covered so much ground from his early pop days to Pauley Lane Band.
But it feels like there's still so much more to come.
Like the story's not over yet.
Exactly. What do you think the next chapter holds for Wyatt?
That's the exciting part. We can only guess.
Maybe he'll go even deeper into Americana.
Or maybe he'll surprise us with something totally unexpected.
Whatever he does, I have a feeling it will be genuine, heartfelt, and memorable.
I agree completely. And, as we get to the end of our deep dive, it's amazing how much we've uncovered.
It is.
But this is just the beginning.
Right. We've laid out the map, the key moments.
But the real exploration starts when you listen to the music for yourself.
That's where the magic happens. It's one thing to hear about an artist's journey.
But it's a whole different experience to feel it through their music.
To let the melodies wash over you, the lyrics sink in.
To connect with the emotions that inspired them.
Exactly. It's about creating your own soundtrack, finding the songs that speak to you personally.
And who knows, maybe Wyatt's music will become part of your own story.
That's the beautiful thing about music. It transcends time, connects people.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one thought.
What's that?
As you listen to Wyatt's music, pay attention to the stories he tells. What themes resonate with you? What emotions does he bring up?
I like that.
And how does his music make you feel more connected to your own life, your own experiences?
That's a perfect note to end on.
It's all about those personal connections, those moments when music touches your heart.
And leaves a mark.
So go out and explore Wyatt Pauley's music and let us know what you discover. That's that connection that makes his music stand out.
It really is. Whether you're a diehard fan or just discovering him, there's something for everyone.
What moments have really struck you during this deep dive?
Honestly, it's been such a whirlwind, so much to take in.
I know what you mean, 90s pop with linear rock explorations with King Bria and Soko, and now the depth of Pauley Lane Band.
Hard to pick just one highlight.
It is tough. There's so many layers to his career. That's what makes it so interesting, though, right?
Definitely. Like, there's always something new to discover, a new side of his music to explore.
So for someone who's just getting into Wyatt's music, where would you recommend they start?
Ooh, that's a good question. Depends what they're in the mood for.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, if they want that early pop sound, Sending All My Love with Linear is a classic.
Oh, yeah, that one's a time capsule, but it still holds up today.
If they're looking for something more introspective, Songs My Daughter Gave Me is a beautiful album.
And for the full Pauley Lane Band experience, I'd recommend their latest Southern Comfort EP.
Good choice. It's a great showcase for their range ballads and rockers all in one package.
Can't go wrong with that. And don't forget A Song from London with those live radio edits.
Right, you get to hear their energy and performance style.
But honestly, I think the best advice is to approach his music with an open mind.
Let yourself be surprised. Let the music take you where it wants to go.
Love that. No expectations, just pure enjoyment.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, something keeps coming back to me.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
That idea of Wyatt as a musical chameleon, always evolving and changing.
He's not afraid to try new things, push those boundaries.
It's a good reminder that growth and change are so important for any artist.
No matter what their art form is.
Exactly. It's about staying true to yourself while also being open to new things.
And I think that's a powerful message we can all learn from.
Definitely, creativity is a journey. It never really ends.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive has inspired our listener to explore their own creative side.
That would be amazing, to spark that creative flame.
It's all about showing how music can connect us, move us, change us.
Well said.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Wyatt Pauley.
It's been a pleasure.
We've enjoyed exploring his music with you, and we hope you've discovered something new along the way.
And we can't wait to hear what musical adventures you embark on next.
Until next time, keep the music playing.